The F1 movie Apex Team, a movie that came off a bit not controversial in the beginning, but this movie definitely was an example of us campaigning for an additional team to be able to come to the grid, because many of us felt that if Formula One had the space to allow a fictional team to occupy pit lane, garage, and on track, we felt that there definitely should be more of a push, a collaboration, and an initiative to let a legitimate team on the grid, given that the deal is that 12 teams could be up to the grid. All right, the Concord deal. Just Sean first in the live chat, Rambro 88 second, and Darth is third, and Miss Dino comes just outside the live chat podium right there. But that is this movie definitely. What's up, 083? What's up, Miss Dino? This movie was initially, I even used it for that. Like, if you can have a fictional team on the grid, taking up garage space, taking up pit lane space, then there's no reason why we shouldn't have more of a push and initiative from the FIA and Formula One to allow another team, which we do have another team coming. Actually, another team coming. And then we have another team that's going to basically take over Kick Sauber. Then we got Cadillac coming. So it's all good and all said. So if you haven't seen the movie, I am not going to give, I will say spoiler alert, but I do not intend to give you any spoils in this kind of review or just saying what I thought about the movie. First off, it was said that this is probably the best racing movie or Formula One movie made. I don't know if it's the best overall as far as storyline, timeline, additions in there. I think that it is the best Formula One movie made to date with the technology used, technology properly used, and Lewis Hamilton had a big hand in this, and I think that was a very pivotal point. I think that was very important for him to be involved at the level he was and to provide them information. Many people talked about Lewis Hamilton and his precise knowledge about tracks, about sounds, about elevations, about looks, and they got him for that. Why would they get Lewis Hamilton? Because he's the best that's ever done it. Somebody else could have got him, but they didn't. I mean, they got right there in the picture. Could have got him, but they chose not to. But plus, he snubbed the red carpet situation, so there's no telling. But Lewis Hamilton's acumen for Formula One assisted this movie greatly in its details of projecting it on the big screen. Now, if you're going to go to this movie and you're going to expect, I don't know, just if you're expecting anything like Fast and the Furious, don't, okay? Because I'm glad they didn't do that. They didn't take it Fast and the Furious. Like, Fast and the Furious screwed up a streetcar genre movie and turned it into Mission Impossible along with Star Wars, Star Trek, any other fictional scientific movie that's out there. That's pretty much what they did. Fast and the Furious screwed it up. Apex, or the F1 movie, did not screw it up, although there are quite a few things that do happen in the movie where people who watch Formula One, probably to any level, especially at a high level, or involved in Formula One at a high level, probably kind of raised an eyebrow or kind of said, nah, I don't think so. Racer S210, Wildcat, Mary Beanie in the live chat, Just Sean. And I can agree with that. Now, when I saw the footage used from this, I immediately, I didn't get chills, but I kind of thought to myself, like, I wonder how that bothered other drivers seeing this on film. And that's the crash of the Martin crash that happened with the Lotus situation. That Senna was there, and that was kind of crazy. That was kind of crazy that they used this crash, because this is the real image of the situation that happened on track. They actually have this in some format used in the movie. I'm not going to tell you how it happens and how it ties in, because like I said, I'm not trying to spoil it for you. But this scene is kind of translated over into the movie. But this is the real picture of the driver Martin that this happened to. And I mean, this is one of the, I'm not going to even keep it on screen that long because I don't want to be disrespectful. But this is an iconic moment of many crashes that have happened in the sport of Formula One. And many of us have seen these crashes or seen some of these crashes and just wondered, how did these drivers survive? And kind of taking this, and then Damson does have an incident in the movie. Like I said, I'm not trying to spoil the movie for you all, but Damson does have a situation in the movie, and it will kind of remind you of the Grosjean situation tied in kind of the Zhou Guan Yu situation that happened in Silverstone. It's kind of a combination of those two. But even that in itself, I mean, that was realistic to me. The situation that occurred was realistic. And it's kind of funny how, if you've been watching Formula One, even for the past 4 years, that one scene makes you think about probably 3 different situations, and probably makes you think about several different drivers. Like, I immediately thought about Grosjean. I immediately thought about Zhou Guan Yu. I immediately thought about George Russell. And it just kind of, these situations tie together that will make you relate to things that happen in actual different seasons of Formula One. So another thing that I will say that was a very pivotal moment for me, and this is a spoiler alert, 083 in the super chat says, saying the F1 movie is the best F1 movie ever made. That's a really big claim. I agree. May I draw your attention to the Grand Prix? The movie was really good. It was really good, but I also think that the movie, and some of you might think maybe not, but Rush was good. Rush had a good storyline. It had a good backtelling of how things were built, involved development from Niki Lauda and Ferrari and the battle with James Hunt and McLaren. I actually thought that Rush, to me, still overall, as it's packaged, I think might be the best movie. And then you come to the Senna movie, which technically people don't call it a movie. They kind of call it a series because the way they laid it out, I still say it's a movie. But to me, Rush is still the best Formula One movie made. Like, for overall, like, storyline, actors, the action, everything involved there, the grit between Niki Lauda and James Hunt, the camaraderie that kind of came to be after Niki Lauda's incident, everything in that movie, I still think Rush is the best movie, right? I still think Rush is the best movie. Grand Prix, definitely a good one up there. Definitely a good one. For sure. I agree with you, 083, I think. But as far as technology and scenes and action, this movie, is up there. It's up there. Idris crash happened at F2 in Italy for real. And then we got F1 movie good, but not good as Mary Beanie. I also agree. Just Sean, definitely. But I do also want you to keep in mind that indeed this is dramatic. It's elaborate. Some things close, some things not. Now, there is another situation that takes place in there that I just got to say, Lewis Hamilton, take note. That's all I'll say. If you haven't seen the movie, I will say, Lewis Hamilton, take note. There is a scene in there involving Brad Pitt's character. And I think if any of you have seen the movie, and if you're going to see the movie, I think you will agree with me that Lewis Hamilton should probably do it. He should probably do what Brad Pitt's character did in the movie in real life. I think that is what he should do. Sonny Hayes should go talk to Lewis Hamilton and say, you need to do this in Silverstone if this happens or if this occurs. There is a direct correlation of what we've been talking about involving Ferrari, involving Lewis Hamilton. And when you see that scene, I have no doubt that you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. I immediately thought about it when the scene came up and said, yeah, I've been saying he needs to do this for a long time. It's about time he does it, because it was kind of cool. There are also some other things that happen in the movie. And spoiler, I'm out of here. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to tell you what happened. I'm just going to say, that when you see the scene, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And then there's also, I will say this. I think that when they finally get to the final race in Abu Dhabi, all right, that's no spoil. There are some things there that you're going to feel. There are some things there that I think Lewis Hamilton probably even thought about as they were probably going through this scene selection. And when I saw it, I said to myself, I wonder what Lewis was thinking. I wonder if that situation in AD 2021 kind of resurfaced a bit more fresh and may have made him think about things and just the consideration of how it was playing out. I know that might have been a little bit tough. It had to have been a little bit tough for Lewis to kind of handle that scene selection, honestly. And also to see it play out, I still got to wonder. I mean, come on. There's a portion in there where I'm just thinking to myself, I was glad to see for the first time ever in history 2 black faces on the Formula One grid. I know it might be petty, but I'm just saying, I was kind of like, damn, this is probably the only time in life that I'm going to see more than 1 black face on the Formula One grid, and that's in this movie. That's in it with JP and Lewis Hamilton. This is what it would be like if we had, more opportunity. And I don't mean opportunity as in bullshit. People are going to talk about DEI. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is what I've talked about before. The fact that money to a point is dictating the opportunities in Formula One versus the ability and talent that is out here. I've already told you all several times, I did a video on it, that I think, and it's not even just about black, white, whatever. I think that there are talented drivers out here that could give us spectacular or great moments in Formula One, but they're not allowed to because of money. And I think there needs to be some type of shift off, because it's not only robbing us, it's literally robbing the sport of competitive opportunities and competitive. Just think about the play we could have, the battles we could have. But some of these drivers are in seats purely off the money. Rambro88 says a fictional story versus history like Rush mighty be hard to compare back is of the emotional factor. I agree. I'm telling you, I think Rush is still the best. In my opinion, I think Rush is still the best. Okay. Now we've had other movies come out that aren't necessarily Formula One that I still think are up there too. Okay. And I will say Ford versus Ferrari, although not a Formula One movie, still a very good racing movie. All right. The other movies kind of sucked. Like Ferrari kind of sucked. Lamborghini kind of sucked. But Ford versus Ferrari was good. The F1 movie is good. Rush, as far as F1 movies, to me, is still the best. So yeah, there's, and they always got to have some type of love involved into the movie. That just always plays a part. I mean, it is real life as well. I will say this as well. For them to be a team to do what they were doing in the movie throughout the course of, I think it was 6 more races or 9 races left. I think that was highly impossible. I think that was highly unlikely. I'm not going to say impossible, because impossible is zero chance for it to happen. I think it was highly unlikely. We're literally watching teams right now on the grid through several years unable to accomplish what this team Apex accomplished in a handful of races. So yeah, that part right there, completely movie fluffed up, but did well. There are some other things that are done on track that are kind of Max Verstappen-esque, but I mean, largely elaborated on Max Verstappen-esque, that I do not think I don't even think it won't fly on the Formula One actual real life grid. It's not going to fly. There's going to be penalties. There's going to be suspensions. There's going to be race bans, especially with the verbiage that was being taken place over the radio when these scenes and when these actions were carried out. Yeah, that's not going to work. You're probably not going to be making it to the end of the season, Sonny Hayes, given your actions, your Max Verstappen actions in there. Although very cunning, very entertaining. I like the way they played it. I definitely felt that there was this whole rookie vet kind of play between Sonny Hayes and JP was cool. To a degree, I can understand if some people might think it got a bit cringy maybe, but I think it was cool. I think I understand. It was all right there. It was all right. You know, he needed to, have some leadership, come in there, kind of grow up. I think we all kind of see that here in Formula One as it is, but I don't think we're outside of Lewis Hamilton, outside of maybe, I don't know, Lewis Hamilton's probably the best example of somebody who can be a vet at his level and go in and be willing to work with a rookie or a lesser driver at that time to try to build them up. I don't think there are many other drivers that I can say would do that. Albon, maybe. Carlos, maybe. What about Shady, Toto, and we'll talk about that another time. Toto actually in this movie, while you say that, Mary Beanie, Toto in this movie is actually still out here running around trying to find another driver. That was funny as well. It was funny as well. It was kind of like backstabbing a bit, right? Because you still in this situation have Russell and Hamilton, and they actually have Toto kind of doing what Toto's been doing. So that's kind of funny you say that. Hey, JP's character was crazy, cocky, more than any real F1 driver could tone it back a bit. Yeah, I would say that. But then again, I don't know, because how many of us actually might be hearing some of the things that are said in regards to other drivers. But I think you might be right, Wildcat. I think that is probably where a lot of more movie kicks in. We want you to be real cocky. We want you to be real arrogant. And then again, maybe his character being that way is in sight of who he is and what he's representing. Like, I don't have many opportunities. I'm about to be out of here. I got some guy coming in, and this team might be sold. But then again, he kind of tones it out, right? His character kind of finds a different groove to get in that is more beneficial, not only for him in the current time, but probably more beneficial for him long term. So I think to have that major extreme that you're talking about, Wildcat, and could be toned down, I think it just helped juxtapose where he needed to go and to try to really bring light to this is how maybe you should really proceed if you want to go further and learn a little bit more in Formula One. So yeah, I get it though. I get it. Indeed. I do get it. And yeah, the movie to me was worthwhile seeing. They didn't have any of the popcorn helmets. I was going to get one of those and put it on display. They didn't have any of those. They wanted you to fill out something to try to win it, and I was not in the mood for even trying to do that. It was already rough for me to try to make what I could make happen. So yeah, I think I heard that they were talking about possibly a sequel or a part 2. I don't know. I don't know about a part 2 to this movie. I think if you do a part 2, I'm not sure about that. I think this movie should stand where it is, let it be what it is, and if there's something else made down the line, let it be something else totally separate. I do see a possibility of a Lewis Hamilton movie coming out. I do see that. Regardless of what happens in Ferrari, I think it's impossible. And I know I hate to say impossible, but I'm telling you, I think it's impossible. Or let's say this. I think it's better said this way. I think it would be completely egregious if a movie is not made about Lewis Hamilton's career in Formula One. I'll say that straight up. I think it would be completely egregious. I think it would be a disservice to the motorsports community, to fans, to the history of movies being made if there's not a movie made about Lewis Hamilton's career. A movie made about Lewis Hamilton's career has abundantly a lot of ties. Lewis Hamilton brings in Vettel, brings in Schumacher, brings in, Senna's essence, brings in the battle between him and Max Verstappen that was coaxed up. It brings in the scandal of, Alonso and that teammate. Lewis Hamilton's life, Lewis Hamilton's career. Miss Dino in the super chat says, it says the movie is PG-13, not for 9-year-old. My little guy begging me to see it, thinking it's a no. No, I will. No. I think it would be okay. I think it okay. There's no large sex scenes in there between Sonny Hayes and the aerodynamicists. There's no large sex scene in there. Of course, they don't show a lot of that. They show, a kissing scene and then they go into the room and then that's it. And they don't really go into that. There's not a lot of profanity that I could even remember being used in the movie. I think that it actually would be okay I would be okay taking my nephew who was 10 years old to see this movie, honestly. I took the baby with me to see it, and it was fine. I think you would be completely okay to take. I think you would be completely okay. I'll say that. I don't think it's out of reach for that, honestly. So yeah, I think you take a 9-year-old, 10-year-old to see it. I think you'd be just fine. I don't think you would have any. There's not a lot of other things going on in the movie that would be controversial, where you would have to hide their eyes. I think you would be all right. Honestly, for sure. And like I said, there's not a bunch of profanities, not F-bombs and B-bombs and all that other stuff. So yeah, I think it was cool. I think the movie was good for what it was. I think it is one of the better Formula One movies made. I just don't think it's the best overall Formula One movie made. I think Rush still has that. I've watched Rush several times, and Apex is there, but to me it's not the best. I think overall, I don't think, Miss Dino, I don't think you'll have to hide his eyes. I think you'll be okay. The one intimate scene that I recall, I don't remember seeing nobody naked. They didn't show the woman naked. There wasn't a bunch of, it wasn't like the lower grade of a pornographic movie. They didn't even go into that. They showed him kissing in the hallway. They go into the room. Next thing you know, he's out. He's waking up from a nightmare type situation, and then that's it. So yeah, you're definitely okay with that. If you go see it and you feel like I might have misled you, feel free to blast me in the super chat. Feel free to blast me. I'll take it, but I really do think you'll be okay. And so yeah, go check it out if you like. I will tell you another movie to check out that is damn good. It's not car related, but I saw it in this same week, and it is Sinners. If you have not seen Sinners by Ryan Coogler, you should see Sinners. Sinners is a movie that is a completely different spin on a genre of movies that nobody's taking. Like this spin on that genre of a movie is completely different. The Sinners is in its own category of how they spun that. It is a good movie. Sinners is a damn good movie. It is. And you really don't expect, well, unless you already know somebody told you what to expect. I was like, I didn't expect that shit. I didn't expect this to turn this way. I thought this was going to be on something a little bit different. And then it just kind of turned, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. Sinners is a good movie. Sinners is definitely a good movie. So if you want to check out the F1 movie, check out Sinners this week for the holiday weekend, especially on this side of Independence Day. Check out those two movies. You got your good race motorsport movie. You got your good drama. I think it might be considered thriller type other movie. Sinners is a good movie. So I would say check. And I also saw what else did I see? Because, since I'm here, I bought a big ass 100-inch TV so I can just watch TV, because a lot of times I can't go anywhere when I'm doing my stuff. But yeah, I think I'm going to watch. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch all the Formula One movies in a day's time. I probably can't watch them all in the same day, but I'm going to watch them all, and I'm really going to sit back and decide where I think they rank for myself. And I think I'm not going to. There are some other movies out there that I'm just not going to even take the time to watch. I'm going to tell you like that. I'm not going to take the time to watch some movies at all. But I am going to watch Rush. I'm going to watch the F1 movie. I watch Grand Prix. I'm going to check and then I'm going to kind of decide which one to me was the best and try to rank them. So we'll go from there. I appreciate you all checking in. We are in Silverstone this weekend, and Mary Beanie will actually be live in the house at the track to see Lewis Hamilton with his new team, Ferrari. So big shout out to Mary Beanie. Don't forget to post those pictures in the Discord for where you post the pictures for you if you're at a race, so everybody can kind of feel like they're there with you. But yeah, we're at Silverstone this weekend. I did hear rumor that Ferrari may not be bringing the rear suspension update, and I'm really not mad at it because they probably still need a little time to understand the floor update. And like I said, once you bring so many updates and kind of up top, you kind of don't know where you're finding performance or where you might be losing performance that you were going to find had you not brought another update on top of this update before you completely understood it. So I'm not mad if they're not bringing the rear suspension. I want to see consistent progress with the floor update that they bought this past weekend at the Red Bull Ring, right? Because we think they might have something. But I told you all, until I see it for 3 events, I'm not saying they got a damn thing besides something that could have been track specific, situational specific. I need to see it at Silverstone. I need to see it at the next race. And then I'll say they got something. And if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if they bring the suspension update 3 to 4 races from now. All right. I know it puts them closer to the end of the season, but this season pretty much is already, they're just competing for constructors placement right now. They're not even going to get the constructors championship. They're just seeing how high they can get up there and go from there. So, all right, you all, peace and love. We will be live again. We got some other things to talk about. As we know, smoke is starting to thicken up about the Max Verstappen and Mercedes sweepstakes. So we will be talking about that. All right, we're going to be talking about that. Don't be surprised. It probably might be tomorrow we talk about that. Could be sooner. But we are going to talk a bit about that and see. I want to see what you all think. And, of course, we will have the Wolves Den this weekend. And if you want to bring that up in the Wolves Den, feel free to bring it up then. All right, peace and love. I'm out.